Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today I'm sharing my top tips on how to lift the eyes with makeup. Let's do this. So our first tip is shaping the brow. The brows are the frame of the eye and they are so important. Sometimes they can be easy to skip because maybe they're not as fun as eyeshadow or lipstick or color products, but the brows are key. And it's also very important on how you shape your brows. So I'm gonna show you a few tricks for shaping your brows. Keep in mind that everyone's brows are different. Depending on where you're starting and what you have to work with, you might use or need different products than I'm using, but I always start with a pencil. I like to create my shape first with a pencil, and then I like to go in and add some volume to my brows with a fiber brow gel. I don't have a lot of hair, as you can see. Not only do I not have fullness in my brow, like I have skinny little brows, but I don't have a lot of hair either. And the hair that I do have is very thin and sparse. It kind of grows in different directions. So I'm gonna show you kind of like the ultimate brow routine. We're gonna start with a brow pencil, and I'm using the new brow pencil from Kjaer Weis. Kjaer Weis is a brand that I love to partner with because they have really incredible products like certified organic ingredients, cruelty-free, just all the good stuff. And they just launched this new brow pencil. So they come in 3 shades. They come in blonde, medium brown, and deep brown. If you want to get real fancy, you can actually use a combo of shades to kind of shade and lift the brow. I'm going to keep it simple and I'm going to go in with medium brown today. Now, what I love about these brow pencils is they were actually inspired by pro makeup artists and the powder technique. So back when I started doing makeup, like another lifetime ago, we didn't have all the brow products that we have today. So we really used like the angle brush and the eyeshadow to create a brow. So this brow pencil was inspired by giving you that same kind of look, just a really soft formula that can give you the look of hair-like strokes if you sharpen it, but it can also give you a really soft kind of powdered brow look. So I'm gonna show you how I like to do my brows. Now you might notice that my brows are not quite even. One lifts a little bit higher than the other. And the goal really is to just kind of enhance and shape each brow. They don't have to be identical. They're sisters, they're not twins, but they also shouldn't be distant cousins. I like to start at the bulk of the brow, so the heaviest part of the brow right in here. I have a little bald spot here, so what I like to do is I actually like to use the tip of the pencil and just create little hair-like strokes. Since I don't have a lot of hair there, I really need this to look like hair. I don't want it to look harsh, so I have a very soft hand. If you notice, I'm holding the pencil further back. If you're real close on the pencil, you're not gonna have that same flexibility and lightness with the hand. So it's really important that you get that lightness. And I start at the bottom and I just kind of do little flicks up. The beauty of this formula is it's so smooth, it glides onto the skin so easily. So you don't have to use a lot of pressure and you're gonna get the perfect payoff. So I just kind of go in here and create those little hairs, and I kind of do upward strokes. I'm not drawing, you know, across my brow. It's not going to look that natural. So I really want to create hair-like strokes in the direction that the hair would grow there. These pencils are so nice. They're so smooth. They have coconut oil in them and vitamin E. So they really just glide onto the skin so nice and smoothly. You don't have to put any pressure, but they're also soft, so they're not harsh. Okay, so I'm kind of like underlining my brow with the medium brown, but I'm actually gonna go in with the blonde. Normally I would just get away with one pencil, but I do wanna show you guys how blonde will work on me too. This is a really nice color. So the key in getting the right brow is to really kind of follow your natural brow shape. Even if you want to enhance it or alter it, start with your natural brow shape and slowly start to make it a little thicker or, you know, lift it a little bit here at the arch of the brow. This pencil is so nice. It is like the smoothest formula. I love Kjaer Weis products because they're natural, certified organic ingredients and cruelty-free. Oh, look at that. Okay, so this looks good, right? But we're gonna go in and take it one step further. I'm gonna go in with the shade Blonde, and I'm gonna use this on the top part of my brow. And the reason I'm doing that is just to have a little bit of lightness. I'm still gonna get that definition, but it's a lighter shade, so it's not gonna weigh my brow down as much as if I use something darker. Oh wow, yeah, this shade would actually work for me too. I'm kind of in between the two. Either one will work. And when I get to the arch, I'm kind of slightly like emphasizing that arch. I want it to look natural. I don't want it to look too drawn in or too, you know, fake. So I'm really keeping light little strokes, and I'm doing little strokes. I'm not doing long, hard lines. Really have a light hand and just kind of allow the shape to take form through little bitty strokes. I'm gonna thicken it right here at the arch so I get a little more defined arch there. So really kind of focusing on that arch of the brow to kind of help lift the eye. Oh my gosh, this pencil is so good. I usually use mechanical pencils, but this pencil is so good, you guys. These just launched. I'm gonna have them linked down below. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with a brow gel to add some volume. Before I do that, I'm gonna use the spoolie on the other side of the brow pencil just to kind of comb through. This is just kind of combing the hairs in place, but it's also softening what we did. So if you ever like line your brows and you feel like they're a little too harsh, use the spoolie on the back and that's just gonna soften it. Next, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. brow gel. And I'm just gonna run this back and forth in the brow. This is gonna give some volume to the brow so it looks like you have more hair. Now this isn't necessary for everybody, but it is great for those of you who have brows like me where there's just not a lot of hair. Just gives some volume and makes it look more fluffy and full. You can even kind of run it the opposite direction. Even if it looks a little messy, you can go back in and then run it the correct direction. But just running it in both directions is gonna build the fibers up even more and make it look more full. Perfect. Okay, lovely. Okay, and then I wanna share an extra tip. Now this is just like going extra. This isn't something you have to do every day, but I learned this recently from Nikki LaRose, so I'm gonna give her full credit for this tip. And it is taking a clear like brow setting gel. This one is from Benefit. This is the 24-hour brow setter. And running it through to just really set this in place. Now this is really great if you have very oily skin or if you have a hard time with products staying on the skin. Maybe your skin's really oily and everything just kind of slides down halfway through the day or at the end of the day. Or if you're gonna be outside a lot and you live in a hot climate, this is just a great technique to really just set and lock all of that brow in. Perfect, okay. Nice. So the brows already kind of lift the eye a little bit. So that's step and tip one. So the next step is to use a lighter concealer right under the brow, kind of where it arches, to just give a natural lift to the eye. You can still apply shadow here, but having a lighter concealer there is just gonna give it that extra little subtle but noticeable lift. So I'm going in with the Makeup Forever HD Skin Concealer. I am using the shade 2.0R. I'm gonna go in with a little mini shader brush. This is the BK Beauty 209. You can see it's really tiny, so it gives me a lot of control. I'm just gonna pick up that concealer from my hand. I didn't go directly to the skin with the concealer because I would apply too much. I don't need too much. I just need a little bit, and I'm just gonna run it right underneath this brow to really kind of highlight the brow and lift the eye. Putting that lightness right under the brow also just defines the brow and makes it pop more. Do you see? Do you see the little subtle lift? I'm still gonna go in here with a shadow, a brighter, lighter shadow, but having this concealer is just that extra little step. And even if you choose not to wear shadow for the day, doing this is gonna also help lift your eye in a very natural looking way. So let's go ahead and get into eyeshadow. I'm just gonna share a couple of simple eyeshadow tricks that you can incorporate into your daily makeup routine that'll really make a difference. So I always like to create my crease first, and I like to use a shade that is matte and a couple shades deeper than my natural skin tone. That's just gonna give a little bit more definition, and a shimmer shade is gonna reflect light, so instead of creating definition, it's gonna reflect light. It's almost gonna make the crease look like it's protruding out. So you wanna use matte and you wanna use something a little deeper. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here from the Patrick Ta, the new Patrick Ta matte shade. It's just a little deeper than my skin tone, and I'm using the tip of a crease brush that is tapered. This is the BK Beauty 202. It has a nice tapered tip, which is gonna give me control over where I apply it, but it's also soft and fluffy, so it's gonna blend it out. Now, what you wanna do, the key is placement here. So when I look directly in the mirror, you know, my crease is right about here. I want to actually use that as a guide, but I want that shadow to softly fade upward. I always say it's like having a halo of color just above your crease. That is going to help lift the eye and give the illusion that you have a higher set crease. So try not to do this, because then you're just going to work right in that crease. Try to look just straight ahead. And you can always go in and add more color to define it more if you want a little bit more of a dramatic look. But to start with a shade like this and then go in and build if you want to build more. A good way to ensure that you're getting the color placed right where you want it is to take the tip of the brush and apply it in that crease and then kind of turn your brush upside down. Turn your brush upside down so that the tapered fibers are starting to blend upward. And I'm creating a nice little kind of moon back and forth windshield wiper motion. This is gonna just kind of make the eye more rounded and open it up. You can also elongate that shadow out if you want for more of an elongated eye. So I've gone ahead and added a little bit of light matte shadow right on the lid. I'm gonna go in and take a pop of shimmer. This is like just a nice shimmer topper. It's not really pigmented, but it's very light reflective. And I'm just gonna take my finger actually. And we're just gonna pop this just in the center of my lid. What this does is it creates just a really open kind of round eye, and it plays and balances off that crease color that we created, so it gives even more of a lift to the eye and just really opens the eye up. Now, this palette is by NARS. I'm not sure if it's still available, but you know, these shadows come in, I feel like, every palette these days, so you can find something. The key is just finding something that is shimmery, not super frosty though. You want it to be more like a topper. So you can put it over shadow and it's just gonna give a pretty little gleam, but not change the color too much. I'll list a few other options down below if I can't find this one online. Okay, so nice, so pretty. Okay, going back to finish off that brow bone, I'm gonna go into this little palette. This is from Jane Iredale. It is the Pure Pressed Eyeshadow Palette in Solar Flare. And it has this really beautiful kind of bone ivory shade that has a bit of a sheen to it. I'm gonna take that same brush, the 209 that we used for the concealer, and I'm just gonna place that right on top of where I had that concealer. This is just gonna brighten it up a little bit more and kind of enhance that lift. And you really just want to keep it like right in between that crease color and your brow. So pretty. The next tip is around liner. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a soft baby wing that is lifted up. Eyeliner can really make or break the overall eye look, and it's very easy to wanna follow our natural lash line in the shape of our eye, but what happens is a lot of times that can kind of drag the eye down because your lash line kind of turns down. You don't wanna really enhance that. So I either say kind of elongate it out or kind of lift it up. So I'm gonna actually start with the brown eyeliner pencil. Then I'm gonna go back and use a black liquid liner pen. I'm using the Kira Weiss eye pencil, and this is in the shade brown. I just sharpened it so I have a nice fresh tip to it. And I'm going to lay it on its side, and I like to start in the middle of my lash line. I'm just gently gonna sketch this out. This formula also is so smooth, so it really glides onto the skin and the lid very easily. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. You don't have to sit there and like tug your eye and go in there. You can really just gently lay it on its side, kind of sketch back and forth. Now the reason that I like to do a brown and then a black is it just kind of makes the whole technique a little easier, a little less intimidating. And I might even decide after I apply this that I don't need the black. So once I get to just before the lash line starts to curve down, I'm gonna stop, and then I'm gonna come and I'm going to extend out and up a little bit. Now I'm keeping it really small, really short. This is what I call a baby wing, very subtle, okay? After I've got it to about the length that I want, then I'm gonna come back in and kind of drag it down to meet the outer corner and fill that in. Any mistakes that you make can be perfected with that black liquid pen, so don't worry too much. Right now we're kind of just getting down the outline. So now that I've got the groundwork laid down with that brown pencil, it actually looks good. I could totally leave it like this, but I'm gonna go in with the Danessa Myricks Fly Line Black Liquid Liner, and we're just going to enhance this slightly. I'm just basically kind of trace over that. What this is really gonna do though is it's gonna clean up that wing and define that wing a little bit more. So I'm really just kind of using the black liner like at the very bottom of that brown. The next little hack I have for you is taking that same concealer that we used underneath the brow to highlight and lift, and we're gonna use that same concealer after we finish the eye makeup, and we're gonna use a tiny bit. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put it on my hand and then use a brush. That just gives me more control to make sure that I don't over apply or make a mess of this. And I'm gonna go in with that same 209 brush. I'm kind of dry cleaning it on a paper towel, so I removed most of that product. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of start at that inner corner of my eye and kind of trace a little line up to meet the tail end of my brow. This is basically just kind of cleaning up the shadow, cleaning up the liner, and giving it a really nice, clean, lifted look. Now I'll go back and I'll just kind of blend that out. You can even use your finger and just kind of press it against that. I didn't use much concealer, so it doesn't take much time to blend. Oh yeah, that just gives a really pretty lift. Do you see that? So the last thing we have to apply is mascara, and this is so important. It can be so easy to just want to rush through your mascara. It's the last thing you have to do. Just do a couple of quick swipes and move on. But you guys, the process of mascara can really, really open and lift the eye if you apply properly and use the right products. So first, I highly encourage you to always curl your lashes. Curl your lashes. It takes 2 seconds, but it really does make a difference. So I am gonna just curl my lashes, give a good little squeeze. This is just gonna, obviously open the eye up. If your lashes are heavy and weighed down or pointing down, it's not really gonna open the eye. It's gonna do the opposite. So now we have our lashes curled. Now the next thing is applying a lash primer. And I feel like a lash primer is something that maybe some of us use, but probably a lot of us don't. It is one of those products that really makes a difference. And it's also sometimes hard to justify, right? Because it's a primer, you don't really see it. It's not color, right? But it's one of those things that if you put on before you apply your mascara, it's just gonna make your mascara look so much better. The lash primer that I love also has other benefits to it than making your mascara look amazing. It actually conditions your lashes, so it improves the health of your lashes. I think I've used this as long as I've had my YouTube channel, for 9 years. I'm not even kidding. This is the Dior Maximizer 3D, and I just like to do a quick little coat. I like to place at the base of my lashes and wiggle back and forth. That's the way that you can get the most product applied to your lashes. And there's kind of a big debate of like, do you let the lash primer completely dry before going and applying mascara, or do you apply your mascara when it's still wet? And I've heard people say different things, so I think it really just is like a test what works best for you kind of thing. For me, I actually feel like the lash primer is better when it is slightly still wet. So I do go in quickly and do my mascara. I'm using the Jones Road mascara, by the way. It has a little curved wand to it, so it's great because it's gonna help lift the lashes as I apply it onto the lashes. So I'm gonna go in before that lash primer has time to dry. My theory and why it's best to leave the lash primer a little wet is because if it dries, it can be very difficult to separate the lashes with your mascara. You might find that the lashes feel a little clumpier and they just don't give you that fanned out, spread out, separated look, which I personally like. So I like to go in before it completely dries. So even though I'm gonna go in and apply more mascara here, I'm gonna go ahead and start on this other side so I don't let that lash primer dry. Another tip you can do if you find that you need more time is just do lash primer on one eye and then mascara, and then go and do the other lash primer rather than doing lash primer on both and then doing mascara. I find that when the formulas are still a little wet on the lash, you just have more time to really create the definition that you want in your lashes. So I like to kind of work back and forth, back and forth. So I'm never fully letting them dry until we are all done and my lashes look exactly how I want them to look. This mascara is nice. A lot of you all recommended it to me. My friend Sonia, ooh, look at that. Do you see how lifted that looks? Oh my gosh. My friend Sonia recommended this. Julia Roseman recommended this mascara, and I like it. It's a dramatic, lengthening, and volumizing mascara. Mascara is a lot like brows in that, it's very personal depending on what you got to work with. You might find different formulas work for you better. Oh, look at that though. Is that just not, that looks like a false lash to me. A natural false lash, but it looks like a false lash. I love it. So take your time on the mascara, you guys. Take your time. It really can make or break the eye look. Now, I think I got enough. I don't want to have, lots of clumpy lashes. Oh, so good. I'm going to put the tiniest amount on my lower, and I mean tiniest, just a real quick little zhuzh of my lower lashes. Lovely. So those are some of my favorite tips on how to get a lifted eye with makeup. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this video too. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was super fun. I love the way my makeup came out. I'll have all the products that I use listed and linked down below in the description box for you. If you have any questions, you know where to leave them. As always, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.